this, so I forgot it was 7 o'clock. Sorry about that. Sure that you've seen the latest and greatest work that's been done and combining all the books together. You got extra notes now in this book. I don't have the maps at the very end yet. The biggest change you're going to see is our creator's name. I've changed it to YV, and if you say them in Hebrew, you're closer than everybody else. And that is because there is no O or W in the Hebrew language, so you can't really transfer those two letters over into his name. Now, what I've also done is give some notes here when you come here, just to let you know what's going on. And then the red letter text is Jesus. Our Creator's words are going to be in purple or violet. His angels are going to be in green, and the gray are the words, are the words that I added. And a lot of times I was completing the format to do that, or when words needed to be fully corrected. These are the 12 commandments, and this right off the bat, I've got the tribes of Israel in the promised land. This is not the promised land on this side. This side is the promised land. This was given to them by Moses. And then I guess I'll click there, get past all the pages for oops. I guess I'm still too comfortable from sitting there sideways. I got a pillow in my back today. Let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that both screens are going to be the same. I'm trying to do vertical at the same time here. Okay, this is going to be the beginning of the text, and every one of these I've tried to put in as the description, but again, Microsoft Word has a limit of how many of these I can put in. So what I've had to do this time is to put like a name, and there's going to be a lot of events that are going to happen under that name. So then I just, because it would only record it as one, even though you can read like about sometimes even 12 stories that's going to be there. You can't click on them. You're only going to get to the beginning. This is the format that was in Genesis. Boy. Yahweh is our beginning, and as our creator, he created the heavens and earth. This becomes like a statement. Okay, that's why there's a period there. And these two connect together like a sentence. And the format that I've found is two major words connected with the least amount of small words. So all the italic words that you're going to see in this text or this book or PDF are all italicized to let people know what I've done. And then probably when it goes into a book form, it won't have those. It'll all be upright. And I still got to do a lot of reading over the text because this is like the third time that I kept rearranging the order of the text But you can see over here, I guess you can't see it. Yeah, I can't. I go over here, it's cutting me off. Over to the far side here of the text, I've got numbers. So that's the way you're going to be able to say, I want you to go to this paragraph, and it's paragraph 1. And actually, they wrote in the style that this is a small paragraph, and then 2 of them like it, that you can see these are grouped pretty well to say this is one subject at a time. And I've noted his light as a reference over here on this side. Our Creator shows himself as light. Now, I know he did walk with Abraham, so I have no problems. I just know that the way our Creator made me see him as a light, okay? It's the way I say this that it's kind of wrong, because we're not supposed to describe our Creator, I guess, or make an image of him. But I'll say that our Creator is a being of light, and he shows himself in the abyss. And there's going to be a video link in the description on YouTube that has a description of him and how many times he made me see him, and gives you the long story. It's self-proof of afterlife, and that's also what kind of differentiates me from everybody else in the world, is that our Creator has given me this path to teach that all males, and pretty much if women follow it, they need a group of women to do this. But what happens is when you're actually going in a REM state, a male can actually experience this and remember the whole time he was there. And what'll happen is it'll seem like you remember everything that's like for 40 minutes long. But here on Earth, the time is like, I would say 2 to 3 hours. So those are just average. People will learn the more they put this to the test. But our Creator is a circle, shows himself as a circle of light, and I will say brilliant purity. Okay, that's how he made me see him. Now, this is also how he would appear to the priests above the mercy seat. So they would go in, the text will reveal that a priest in one of the Psalms said he would go in, bow with reverence, and then he would talk to our Creator, and he would appear as light to judge whether that person is forgiven for their sin or not. And he does this over like, I think close to like a 300-year period. I know he stops. The text, we don't have everything. We don't have all the judges after Joshua becomes the judge. And then all of a sudden the story shows up with Eli being, it talks about him being as a priest, then he's a high priest, and then he's the judge afterwards. So from those 2 times, I'm just give a quick estimate of maybe I think 170 years. And they left our Creator, and our Creator quit appearing to them at that time. At Eli's time backwards, we don't know if it's 30 years or whatever. There is a prophecy later that I think it's in Isaiah or Ezekiel that he talks about look what I did, how I abandoned the house or my tent for meeting. So that was in Shiloh. So we also know through that reference that he abandoned. But after David um, became king and reestablished, our Creator then was appearing to them again. So, and then it goes almost up until um, I think someplace about Hezekiah's turn as king for Judah, and that's the ending of the nation Israel is taken into captivity. It no longer is a nation, it's kind of ruled by Assyrians at that time, and they really didn't push it in any farther. And they couldn't go, those that were there couldn't reestablish it. So this is just my picture in my head that they couldn't have a king over them because there would have been fortresses or garrisons set up um, as like outposts to control the land. So what you're seeing here as these groups go together, this is how they wrote. Now, I can go into, I think it's Jeremiah chapter 35. Is that what I got on the screen? No, it's a scribe was worried about reading the writing that was in the scroll that Jeremiah was condemning, that now it's Judah's turn to be gone into captivity. And a good scribe went and took this book to a bad king, and he says that he read 3 or 4 columns to the king, and then the king grabbed it and threw it into the fireplace. Now, this is the columns that they used to write in. These are known as Psalms, okay? Now, in here, I've started putting down as these are laws, or are they guidances? Are they prophecies? I'm going to make more notes of these. It's just that I don't think I'm going to be able to put as much as I'd like to. I know I'm going to try to make a better PDF that might be able to have comments in it as well, but I don't want to go through here and tell you everything that I know. I'm going to probably teach Genesis because I think it's pretty important that everybody starts off understanding the text and how it should be taught to their children. But at no time should this book, or whenever I die and all the editing I do, no one is to be able to go and change the text. That's, I'm just telling you, that's forbidden. You're really going to be in trouble for that. Because our Creator has given me so much information. In the text, I've got coordinated that when you go look up the word, say like saved, then you're going to find all verses being saved. Then you're going to say redeemed. That has another special meaning. And then it's, what was it? Delivered. David uses the word delivered a lot, which means from the enemy that they were fighting. So that word had to be, every time you read, what did I say? Delivered. You'll see that all the text stays delivered. I've really tried to not have one word mean more than what it really truly means. So, seeing that, guess you can still see what's going on here. I just want to make sure that some people are seeing this numbers here, because I'm doing like five platforms right now. And see, here's another note, and this is the first prophecy of Yah. That is the name that they gave Jesus at David's time. Okay. Now I've made hundreds of videos over everything that I've done. So I'm trying to organize and master a list of ULRs. So if you wanted to quickly search what I said in Genesis chapter 5 or Ezekiel chapter 50, you can look it up on this piece of paper and then click it and see what I done with the text. I tried to go over every word for many of the first books I did, which was trying to work the text backwards. And that means that I started with the prophets, and then I tried to put them together, and that's how I first started building the book. And then when I got more, I could add it someplace else in here. But the prophets were the ones that give us the most information about what happened at the end and how they returned. So, but they did use the word Yah. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing these, you'll understand why I'm doing these. But here, example, every time I'm finding a law, I'm trying to put it in there. Some are guidances, some are statutes, some are commandments. So there's a lot of different understandings of what the text should say, and I'm giving them as clues right now. In that way, they're referenced so people can make sure that they're aware of these things. And yes, Moses built a boat. Now, if you have anything to say about me distorting the text, you better look at the 1611 preface. They actually have their own words from the translators of how they edit the text. And then Jesus tells us that they edit it for their god or goddess. Example, the Pope sits and meditates to have sex with a so-called female goddess. And if you watch my videos, I go into great detail how they do this, because our Creator let me learn this. But I'll tell you, and I tell you what I experienced and tell you that that's why it's wrong. But He gave me that education that's also in the text. That's why I say you can't really mess with this text later after I die. Should never do that. I'm really trying to put a warning out. If they do, you tell your children's descendants repeatedly, this is the only text to truly trust. Because I know that this text is going to take your belief to a trust. Just like back then when our Creator wasn't appearing to them anymore and wasn't there, and they would use their original text that they had, and the ones that stayed closest to our Creator obeyed these words. Now, back then, they didn't have where everybody can read it daily, but I'm sure that they were all pretty much had like a copy of Genesis. So they were to teach that, and then they'd probably go into like their synagogue and they would hear some reading, and then they would go back and try to teach their children what that was being said by their knowledge of their parents passing the information on to them. And so should you be transferring information onto your children. And that's why I need to teach Genesis. So you do it right for your children to understand and have the same understanding that our Creator gave them 3,000 years ago, maybe even more. As you can see, these are my maps that I put in. I had to create them. Should have mentioned more of that. That's one of the first pictures that I tell you where I got this. The land structure, all the rivers and everything else I've had to do is my editing. I couldn't copy, so I just could have the copyrights to make these images. So every curve in these rivers aren't exactly correct. They're close, but I couldn't copy them exactly. So all these maps are a little bit different. As you see that this text is revealing this is where Noah landed. Okay. And you'll probably have to go through Genesis 1 and 2 to understand. Maybe everything's in Genesis 1 right now. But as you can see, here's another prophecy of Jesus, and it's all about the prophecy of Jesus. When people are looking for in the text today, I've laid out a few videos that definitely, I forgot to tilt my glasses, that have the verses from Genesis that you have to combine them together to understand about his everlasting promises that he's making, starting with Abraham. I've tried to put some notes off the side like a pile of rock. I don't want people to think that these things were monuments or something that they could go find today, like they want to try to say. People today are really just making up lies and distorting for you to click on for their videos. You can't really trust any of them. The text is going to tell a story here soon about how Jacob passes these rivers. That's how this gets to be actually how I started defining the land. Other than that, I guess I could go right down to the end. I want to show you what I did here. Okay, here it is. Whoops. So what I did was, because I don't have any maps below, I had to remake so much of it, and it's going to take me 2 months to do it, to really make this map. If you had seen my other books, I've taken them all down off the website now. Oh, these books can both be found on my website. So I know I've got that all over. I did mention that, or in the old book that I've taken down now, they have descriptions of Jesus' path, and the stories are related, and they're all labeled over here where he's at, so people can have, like, this is the map that you would see what it's like, and then at the very end I put the exact same map, but actually it's a placeholder for the full text so you can see everything. And I will be selling these maps as well. We're right now in the process of just got our business tax ID number, and we're going to set up to have some merchandise and that'll come later. Another, I'd say, month and a half, and I'll be having it set up. Because in this text, uh, because I own the copyrights to them, every word in here is copyrighted, but you're going to see them. I think I've got 35 t-shirts that are going to have sayings on them of Jesus's words, or those things that are important. But you can see here was a different style that I had to write under. Now these, I pretty much did go no, I maybe didn't. I know I could do it on the short book, and that's the second book on my website. You want to get it to know where every one of these verses come from, and you will see that list. Let me see if I can bring that up. I did so much cleaning up today on my computer that I guess that I failed and took it off my desktop. So I know it's stuck in a folder, so, but too much clutter. But you can see these are verses, or full complete sentences. There is our Creator's hidden formats that I did prove, but those I think are too sophisticated. This here has got more details, but it keeps the same stories that are in the other one. The order is changed because the way the text was telling me how that order should be. This text, when I've got full or more information, reordered a lot of the text, but you can see that I've now got, like, this is going to be, this group of text is all one subject. So this is like 3,676 to be used for people to say, to using this as a guidance to teach from. So that's a good thing, that if you're going to teach it, again, here's, like I'm saying, angels' words are in green. But I've got the text, so I'm honoring and respecting our Creator this way. And also it makes sure that people aren't guessing at, like, the in your Bible now, it'll have like him, all capital letters, and then it'll have him with a capital letter, then two little letters, but they're still meaning our Creator. And then they'll have Jesus with a small h-I-M. Well, what I did was everything for our Creator is all full caps. Every time the word him is talking about Jesus is a capital letter H, and then all other hymns are little h's. So like I said, the text I've got definitely just like this word right here. Can you see that? No, you can't see it on the, but this is the word him for Jesus. Here, see, this is it for Jesus right here in red letters. So, example, here's a note how you understand how the Bible, or how the Hebrew text teaches how they understood conception at that time. And it's based on Hannah's vowing, when she's vowing, or she's making a vow to our Creator, that if you send me a son, which means a soul of a son to conceive with a male seed which is visible, because they did not know that a female had a seed. So at that time, it was, they were thinking that the soul in the seed conception from man, a male, became a being. So this is how it's taught and was taught to them 3,000 years ago. In fact, that's kind of how they were supposed to believe right up until probably 1800, maybe. I think they somewhere in there that they figured out a woman had a seed, or at least announced to the world. Um, so, but this is the text here. And I've got little helpful hints describing when they're talking about John that it's the baptism that's being talked about here. Other than that, that's pretty much, I want to just let you all know that it's up on the web, free, download it. If you find any errors, come back to this video, and this video is the one that I'm hoping to put on the web page, or I'll try to make another one for the web page to tell this. That will be one that will be put up and will be there hopefully for 3 or 4 years. And then if you find a comment wrong or a word wrong, punctuation wrong, what you'll do is just put the @ and then my name all together as one word in the comment section. And then you can either put error, misspelling, things like that, and then put the number down that you see on the right-hand side. And then that way I can go look to it real quick and make a small description, because I don't want that board to fill up with just regular comments. I will be pulling those comments down, but the object is I'm trying to, if you find something, it's important that I'm listening. So the thing here is that's to help me, and you're helping other people as well. And then other people can go through and search the comments to see if they've got the same one or not, if it's been found. Here, a lot of people don't know that what incense and spices were about. The incense was to be burned, and the spices were put around to keep the bugs and incense away from the body, because they put them on what's known as a tomb, and they put it in a tombs. Tombs were hollowed out in the side of the hill, and what they would do is put the body, lay this here on the body and wrap it. And a lot of people think the Shroud of Turin is true. You're not listening to what the Bible or the text says. And that's when Lazarus is wrapped completely around his arms. And that is why they have incense and spice, because what the people found in the Black Plague Day, that those grave robbers were coming and digging up graves, but when the people in the graveyard went to rebury the bodies, they would notice that they were seeing claw marks on the top of the coffins, that they were waking up. And so what they'd done is they tied a string to their finger and then put a bell up. And then what they found is pretty much 3 days is what they're finding out that they could even still wake up under. Well, the Hebrew people knew this long time ago. That's why they had tombs, and they would lay them there, and then some were awaking. Now, with this ring on their hand, when they woke up in the graveyards in Europe, what would happen is when they rang the bell, the third shift graveyard, everybody still calls it the graveyard shift. At least I know that's what happened where I was working. But this was known as a dead ringer, and that's the first true uses of the word dead ringer, when they would talk about the person that when he rang, they went over there and quickly dug him up, freed him, and then they were able to live until they died. So, but that's what you have to understand. They knew about that a long time ago. So they used incense and also spices. Um, Okay, I'm going to call that a quick end of this video and go from there. So I hope you uh, have a little bit more knowledge about what's going on here. You have a great day. I've got to let it play a little bit so the message can be put at the end of the video. I've got to learn to do that more.